All right, Oval fans. Hope everybody's doing well. Shout out to James Morrell on one of my YouTube comments on the review I did for the Oval episode 18, season 2. And I just wanted to say that this video is pretty much based on his comment. Now, I have a separate video where I would talk about how ridiculous the whole situation is regarding the distance between the hospital and where the truck accident happened, but like I said, that's his own video. But this video was pretty much ripping the Rakudushi a new one because of how dumb their plan was. James said, what's exactly perplexing to me is how in the last episode you had Daikon telling everyone to get rid of both Barry and Callie, and at the same time run his father and friends off the road. Like, if your goal was to avoid the White House blowing up your spot, you pretty much just ruined that for yourself. I'm definitely sure that the ending to Ruthless will be Hunter nuking that compound along with the cartel. Quite possibly. Now, if you don't remember, the cartel is the group of people that Lilo, aka Tyrone / the highest parole officer, you know, the one that got chopped up into little pieces in Ruthless. And I guess at this point, the cartel works directly with the highest. I don't know. Ruthless hasn't gotten that far. If I remember correctly, in Ruthless, they don't even know Lilo is dead yet. But he did warn that if anything happened to me, the cartel will roll up on the front door of the highest. So who knows? But in any case, yes, when Daikon was like, yeah, we got to get Barry and Callie out of here, I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That way, when Richard comes back with reinforcements, there'll be no proof that Barry and Callie were even there. But then you have them running them off the road, and I'm like, somebody's going to find Richard's truck with his body and whatnot. So it's like, he's known to be the butler at the White House. You don't think people like Sam, who were told by Dale and Sharon about the Rakudushi, won't come looking around? Because they'll be like, wait, why was Richard like 3 hours away? And then Sam will be like, well, yeah, I was told about the, the Rakudushi code and whatnot. So they obviously have something to do with this. So them running them off the road to me made no damn sense whatsoever. Then on top of that, without confirming they died in the wreck, you brought Barry back home. Now, mind you, Barry doesn't know where he was. He knows he was at the compound, but he was blindfolded the entire time. But you didn't kill Barry. So, and plus you left your calling card. Remember on Home Alone, look, I know some people say they don't like when I talk about other shows and movies. Who cares? This is my video. Remember Home Alone at the end of the first movie? I think they were called the Wet Bandits, and at the end of the movie when they got arrested, the cops are like, oh yeah, and thanks to your calling card, Mr. Wet Bandits, we know exactly all the houses you hit, because apparently every time they robbed a house, Marv would cut the water on and like the sinks all over the house to leave their mark. So basically the cops are like, yep, every house with running water and nobody's there, we know you robbed them. So essentially, you left Barry's body there covered in the Rakudushi calling card, the flowers, the dust, the ceremonial crap, the purple lights. You literally like, hey, the Rakudushi brought your son back here after doping him up with all kinds of drugs. Hope you don't come back to our compound. Bye. I feel like the Rakudushi are being made to be as incompetent as the Malones were, in terms of, at first when they were introduced, they were like this powerful, intimidating force that not even the cops wanted to mess with. But as the longevity of the Rakudushi or the Malones became in their respective series, we began to see that they have to be nerfed by Tyler Perry, aka depowered, to the point of, yeah, we need to make them screw up or we need to make them vulnerable, but it goes against everything we've known about these people so far. And it's one thing to mess around like the local sheriff's office or whatever, but, and not to mention the Rakudushi don't know that Lynn is married to an FBI agent, so there's that. But you literally are interfering with family and an employee of the White House. Your whole thing is hating the white man's government and this and that. So you're literally poking the bear. It's like, It's like you're literally provoking the one power you don't want to come down on you. Remember, if you watch Ruthless, these people lost their shit when a sheriff car came up to them unannounced. You're telling me you literally tried to kill a White House employee, abducted his granddaughter, abducted his son, and put him back home drugged up and everything. I mean, you could argue, well, Jeremy, they caused the car wreck. Maybe they assume Richard, Sharon, or, well, Richard and the people in the car were dead. So in theory, with Barry being blindfolded and whatnot, they wouldn't know where the compound is. But then again, remember, they don't know that Dale told Sam, and plus Dale's still alive. So either way, even if Richard, Sharon, and Dale died in the truck accident, and Barry was brought home drugged up and whatnot, he wouldn't know where he was because he was blindfolded. I'll give them that. But at the same time, it's like you just left a huge target on your back. So even if Callie isn't there, let's say they move Callie somewhere else, the Rakudushi are screwed because the feds will come and get their asses. That's assuming nothing happens to Sam because he's investigating the Gene murder cover up and whatnot. So who's to say he won't be stripped of his power or killed off, and as a result then he'll be really screwed, like, you know, in regards to the compound not getting, you know, seized by the White House. But there are just so many things that I'm very, you know, curious about, not to mention with Curtis being the name of Victoria's father, saying he's in Virginia. Who's to say he isn't in close proximity to the Rakudushi compound? You just never know. But let me know what you think. I agree with James that the Rakudushi made a massive mistake, from trying to kill Richard and crew to bringing Barry back home. And God knows that makes no sense, because that means they would have brought Barry 3 hours from the compound to his house, and I don't really know. Not to mention we know the Rakudushi have, like, quote unquote false organization. They basically have like safe houses planted. I think Sharon even said there's one particular area in the strip mall that's a store, and it's like, yeah, I've seen people go in there, but yeah, that's actually a front for the compound. Like, you know, we don't usually wear our cult attire in public, so when we go into the building we change into our cult clothing. But that pretty much contradicts the scene where Barry abducted Ruth, when there were a bunch of the cult members in person. But this show isn't very consistent. But in any case, guys, I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. I think the Rakudushi really messed up by putting a huge target on their compound. So let me know what you think will happen in the near future with them. Do you think the Ruthless series will close up in the Oval, and basically, like, let's say Ruthless ends by bleeding into the Oval series, and then the compound comes to a close within the Oval itself? So thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.